The green light was lit in Houston. Jalen Green with a bounce-back game, 8 made threes, ties the Houston Rockets' playoff franchise record for most threes in the game, keeping the theme of the night alive. Welcome back to Playoff Central Live. That's Carlos Boozer, that's Quentin Richardson, I'm Chris Miles. And Q-Rich, I keep coming to you because we've had some great shooting performances throughout the night. Jalen Green putting a nightcap on it with 8 threes to end this for the Houston Rockets. An incredible 38-point game for him.
Yeah, this was a great bounce-back game. They were looking for that from him. He didn't play well, particularly the first game in Game 1. And Game 2, much more aggressive, much more on the attack. Like here you see they were seeking out the mismatch for him. Right here you see Kevon Looney getting caught up in the switch. Big man against the guard. He creates his space, step back to the 3. He was feeling himself early, man, but I like what Ime was doing. He was sending the non-defenders. That's a double screen. First with Buddy Hill, then you get Şengün. He didn't switch, but Buddy isn't the best defender either. Scores there. Here's another double. And this time you're going to see him come off, and now he gets downhill on the big and gets what should have been an N1. But, like, he was way more aggressive this game, and then just being in the right place at the right place sometimes. But this dunk was sweet.
Ooh. What was that?
Ooh, bang, bang.
Okay.
We got you on it tonight. So, Booze, when I look at the Houston Rockets, they had 85 points in Game 1, tied the low of around the association for lowest amount of points in the playoffs. Then they bounced back 109. What was the difference to you in their off? Now, here's the thing. They had more points in the first 3 quarters of Game 2 than they had in all of Game 1. So what did you see from them when you're like, oh, this is going tonight in the first half?
I mean, Jalen Green, to me. I mean, It is what it is. Like, I think he came out on a mission. He was outstanding from the very tip of the game to the finish of the game. Did a great job of setting the tone for that team. I mean, also, Şengün had a great game as well, 17, 7, and 16. But 38 points from your leading scorer after coming short in Game 1. He basically said it wasn't going to be all me tonight. I'm going to make sure I do my job. He did it very well, did a great job of being aggressive all night long. The rest of the guys fed off of that, seeing his shot go in, seeing his aggression came in as a offensive juggernaut for that team. Did a phenomenal job tonight.
You know, it's a great point that you guys make about Jalen Green because I remember the Houston Rockets during the regular season won their first 10 games where he scored 30 or more. Right? And a lot of times we see the stat where a guy scores a lot of points, it doesn't necessarily lead to wins. Why is it that when he scores over 30, it leads to wins for the Houston Rockets?
I think it speaks to how important his scoring is to that team and how much impactful he can be when he's being aggressive and he's leading the charge like that. When you look at the collection of talent they got, he is your scorer. He's your main guy outside of Alperen Şengün. He's like the perimeter guy who needs to drive winning with his offensive capabilities. And when he shows up like he did tonight, as you just stated in the record, he shows how important it is for him to play that well.
And I know that the Jalen Green dunk and the threes, they look so good, right?
Yeah,
all of them. But when you go back into that first quarter and you think of Alperen Şengün working out inside, plus 18 points in the paint, that was something they had an advantage, even in the loss in Game 1, because they went to it early and often here in Game 2.
Yeah, they have a size advantage in the post. They did a good job of going them early and often. They get offensive rebounds. They out-rebounded the Warriors by a lot tonight, dominated points in the paint again. I mean, Şengün is just a problem. He can literally score, he can pass, he can assist. He's a baby joker out there, did a great job in this game of setting the tone as well. But to me, again, it was Jalen Green. And you look at the stat sheet, look, you got Dylan Brooks had a good night. Amen Thompson had a good night. Obviously, Şengün. Fred VanVleet still struggling a little bit, but then you come off the bench with Tari Eason. It all started for me with Jalen Green.
Yeah, 5 players in double figures, 15 made threes. Here's head coach Ime Udoka, a finalist for Coach of the Year.
Hello.
First question, Danielle.
Jalen obviously had a big offensive bounce back tonight, but what did you like about his intensity on the defensive end?
Yeah, I think that kind of ignited him a little bit. He got after it there, was aggressive on both sides, and we need that from him. Podziemski was too comfortable last game, much better job climbing up into him. And then switching on to Curry, he was aggressive. Same thing when Hill came in, so I think that all carried over. But he bounced back on both ends, obviously, aggressive offensively, physical defensively, and that's what you're going to need against these guys.
What can you say about your team overall and how they were able to bounce back after a not so good showing in the first game?
Yeah, I mean, we guarded well enough last game, like we said, held them to 95. Today it's 94, and they're really in the 80s with some late buckets they had, but that carried over well, and we knew if we took care of the ball, got some shots, we were going to knock some of those down, and obviously Jalen was a big part of that, but everybody else contributed as well, and guys were aggressive, so that's what it looks like. We hold a team to that. We should have comfortable wins like we have all season, and well, like I said, first game's out of the way. Guys got their rhythm back, got their focus, confidence, never left, but get the jitters out and have a good offensive showing, we'll be in good shape.
A double-double for Alperen Şengün. What did you like about his performance, not only tonight, but just his first two games in general and the way he's kind of imposed his will?
Yeah, he's a matchup problem for teams, and they're switching all type of guys on him, kind of going after him. But he's patient, takes what they give him, and makes the right read most of the time. But we need his aggressiveness. He calms us down in the post. Like I said, we're putting him all over the court, setting pick and rolls for him, isolations at the elbow, playmaking, rebounding, obviously at a high level, but and guarding wings on the perimeter. And so, hell of a job by him in the first two games. Good carryover from what he did all season, basically. That's why he was an all-star.
Ime, how did things change when Jimmy went out, and what type of things did you all do to take advantage of his absence?
Yeah, obviously he's a huge part of what they do. Isolation, score, cross matches, he likes to hunt those, and so you could key in on Curry a little bit more, obviously, with him not on the court. And I think we did that for the most part. He had 5 points until the two late threes in the first half, and then scoring 20 on 6 for 15 with 6 turnovers. We got aggressive with him, went after him, and tried to make some other guys beat us, and it worked for us.
What kind of conversations did you have with Jalen between games 1 and 2, and what was his mood like? How was he in practice? Did you kind of think he would be fired up going into tonight?
Yeah, nothing major as far as conversation-wise. I think it was more of he had a poor offensive showing, not just him but the rest of the team. Take care of the ball, and be patient, and get guys their spacing. You'll have your attack lanes, and then be aggressive from there and make the right play. And so, he took what they gave him, getting up 18 threes. They were helping off, they were going under, and being aggressive with that. And then he goes 5 for 7 from the rest of the field with the assists and all that. And so, nothing major. We expected to bounce back for a lot of guys that didn't shoot it well, and he showed that tonight. Obviously, he came out aggressive from the start, and then, like I said, the defense was a good carryover as well.
What did you see from your team when at moments when it felt like maybe Golden State could make a run and maybe kind of cut the lead, but you always had an answer for that? You guys always responded and extended the lead.
Yeah, it's just the simple things that got us there, and what hurt us in game 1. At that point you're up 20, and turnovers and threes are what are going to get them back in the game, and we have 2 quick turnovers, give up a 5-0 run with the threes, and then they get an 8-0 run, and so exactly what we said, will help them, and so we just got to calm it down and be deliberate with what you're trying to get at that point. And I think we still went to guys in the pick and roll and the post up and drew the crowd and made the right play and then knocked those shots down. So didn't lose our composure. Got chippy at the end as well. We got to keep our composure there a little bit more, but did what we did all game and made the right read and hit the shots.
Ime, we spoke about both LP and Jalen's impact. I know it's just one game, but how much of their performance today is what this organization may have envisioned dating back to the offseason when you guys decided to invest in them?
Tài lắm. Tự nhiên không có lên vô cứ chèn kéo thấy ở cái gì đó là thấy ngoài ra. Xin chào cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng, và hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là phông xanh. Mọi người, hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là phông hồng. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nhé. Phải làm sao đây bảo là đấy, mỗi ngày đây mỗi tối là test xem đang lại cái gì giờ mét đang cái bài gì đấy. Khó hiểu vô cùng đó. Ôi mấy vừa rồi đấy. Đây. Không. Khó thật chứ. trường hợp không nhé. Rất đông người.
Chó biển đấy. Tiền tên nó được lì xì tận 800, 900. Mẹ bảo là cho cầm hết. Nó cũng không muốn đưa cho mẹ, mẹ bảo cho cầm hết. Đổ xăng, thế là em mới tính ra nó đi chung xe với bạn mà. Nó có xe có bao giờ nó đi đâu. Nó đi chung xe với bạn. Thế thì cho là 800 đổ xăng 3 tháng. Đi chung với bạn đó, một tháng chỉ có mỗi đứa 150, 200 là chán. Thế mà giờ còn chưa được 2 tháng nó đã kêu hết tiền, khốn nạn này. Mọi lần em được lương là em hay đưa cho nó 300 một tháng, mà sau nó còn có tiền ăn cái này ăn kia nhá, chứng tỏ là chúng nó mất ít xăng. Mà em đi một tháng em cũng chỉ mất 250 tiền xăng thôi, mà đây chúng nó còn đi ghép mà 800.000 chưa được 2 tháng nó đã hết rồi. Em là tức thế chứ lệ, em bảo tao không cho tiền đâu, mày làm gì mày làm. Mọi lần em còn hay kiểu tự cho nó, bây giờ em đưa hết cho mẹ, xong nó lúc nào nó đổ nó xin mẹ cho nó đỡ có tiền cho chửi. Bằng nói em không biết tiêu tiền là gì á. Nó chơi với cái con tình á, cái con tình lần trước bắn nước cho anh Quyết á. Đú đà đú đỡ, mẹ em cấm chơi đấy.
Nó còn đến đi lắm. Giờ mình chẳng rồi á.
Cái con đấy nó nghỉ học 1 năm để nó đi làm. Xong về làng bị đồn là đi làm gái.
Có tình đấy.
Ăn mặc còn là
mặc kiểu hở đấy gì. Để cứ khoe là mình có đấy gì không. Rồi.
Con đấy là thương á.
Không, tình thường nó có bạch tạng khác thì anh ơi. Em nhớ là
tình ở đoạn dưới này cơ.
Em gọi là bạch tạng tại vì em thấy nó trắng quá.
Đấy nhá.
Xong
em mới kể
chị anh em mở cửa đi cho anh ơi.
Trước em cũng không được.
Mở cửa đi ngồi. Đấy, nhưng mà thôi thì mở đấy tại vì anh
trước em cũng chơi với con tình đấy mà, nhưng mà sau từ lúc nó có tiếng cái em tự tách luôn, em không chơi luôn. Thôi em kể với mẹ em là con Huyền nó chơi với con đấy, bảo là nó còn đang có tiếng đi làm gái rồi đấy, mẹ em mới cấm nó chơi. Thế là sau nó mới kể là chị Tình bảo là ngày trước chị Tình chỉ dẫn gái đi thôi chứ chị Tình không làm. Thế thì còn những cái con đầu sỏ đấy nó còn kinh hơn cả làm gái, mẹ khác được. Đoàn giấu đi chơi thôi. Bố mẹ em cấm tịt luôn, bây giờ nó có được ra khỏi nhà đâu. Ở trong lòng cái bà sản xuất lại còn bao nhiêu cá chiên mà đâu. Ngày nào mẹ chị cũng đưa sơn một bát cơm. Chị quay nhau rồi. Mọi người ơi, vòng đây nhé. Giờ mình sẽ thêm hạt dầu à? Này, em lớn rồi, tự bây giờ em vẫn thích mặc. Em không thích mặc cái sợi áo này, thích mặc qua đi. Nhưng mà em chân to, em chả